Be mindful with what it is you let into your mind. Are you feeding your mind positive thoughts, or are you feeding your mind negative thoughts? And you will know what's the difference between a positive and a negative thought. How? Because positive thoughts bring you a feeling of abundance, brings you a feeling of great energy. Negative thoughts brings you a lower energy, makes you not want to do anything. It makes you believe that nothing could ever get better. Positive thoughts would be, everything will be okay. Nothing is forever. Everything is temporary. This too shall pass. The thing I learned about positive and negative thoughts is we have to become, the thing I learned about being mindful of what it is we let into our mind is it plays a significant role into our lives. What is it that we are feeding our mind? If we are feeding our mind so much negative things, how can you expect to live a fulfilling life? If you start filling your mind with positive things, that is how you start to feel more fulfilled within your own life. It's not the easiest things. And just because you focus on one thing doesn't mean that the other does not exist. No, that is not what I am trying to say here. Regardless of whether you look to your left and you look to your right, both paths are going to be there. The difference between looking to your left and looking to your right, the left side can be a moment of clouds. It could be a moment of a storm. On the right, you look to your right side, it could be a sunny, bright day and beautiful nature around you. The difference between looking to your left and your right is, one, where you choose to look, but two, how you choose to look at the life that you are currently living. Because where we look is what we see. If you look at so much of the bad that is happening within the world, that is what you are going to see. You are going to start to see more bad things within the world. If you start to look for good things within the world, kind gestures someone has done, a good deed that someone may be trying to do for you, you start to you start to feel more fulfilled with who you are. If you want change, you will make change. And if you don't, then you will find an excuse. I believe that if you want change bad enough, you will find ways to bring about change. Now, creating change is not the easiest thing. It is going to be one of the hardest things you are going to do. Why? Because if you are getting out of your comfort zone. When you are going through some dark valleys with your own mental health, it is really hard to get through those dark valleys. I have been through some very dark valleys with my own personal health. To give you some context, I was once at a point in my life where I no longer wanted to be here. I wish that I stopped waking up. I wished that I was experiencing so much pain within me, where all I wanted was that pain to end. I was in a very, very dark place. And I learned from personal experience, I was going through some very dark valleys in the year 2020. And then throughout the years and throughout time within the process, it still has been a journey and a process within itself. But self-reflecting from those times is, in order for me to want change, I must first had to want change so bad or bad enough where I had to start creating new changes within my todays in order for me to start to see new beginnings for my tomorrows. Now, doing that is one of the hardest things to do, especially when you're going through some very dark valleys, because when you're going through some very hard times and some very trialing times, it is really hard to believe that things will get better, or that the things that you are in the midst of, you are capable of overcoming. It is really hard to stay positive and hold on to that hold on to that faith to help you get through what it is you're in the midst of. And I learned that if you really want something bad enough, you are going to create a change. I want to change so bad enough where I eventually said, enough is enough. I need to take accountability for my doings and my actions and find a way to bear through them. And for me, I needed to find people to help me get through the places that I was in. And I'm not talking about, I seeked information from individuals who not only have gone through some very hard times, and I'm talking about some very hard times, I'm talking about people who have even experienced harder times, who has a harder story than I did, and they explained their story and they talked about how they got through what they were going through. I needed to learn from those people. I needed to learn from those people who were going through some really dark valleys and somehow found a way to overcome those dark times. I needed to find those people. And for me, I started doing research on YouTube. I started watching videos. I started listening to Steve Harvey. I started listening to David Goggins. I started listening to a variety of different people talking about their story, their journey. What is it that they did? How did they do it? Because there are so many people, when you are going through some dark valleys of your own, it is really hard to believe that somebody else has it worse. When you are going through some really hard times, in the moment, you feel like you are the only one going through it. You are the only one going through something. And I can't remember if I came across a quote, a video, maybe a conversation I was having with someone close to me. I can't remember what, but there was something that happened where I was like, I needed to seek information from those who can help me get through what I was going through. I needed to listen to the information that was going to sting in the moment. You know, by sting, I'm talking about someone laying out some very hard truth to you, like saying you are where you are because of your own actions. You know, stop being in your own, stop crying in your own self-pity. You know, other people have it worse. I'm not saying that you don't have it bad. It's not that is not what I am implying. What I'm saying is that a lot of people have it far worse. And because some people do have it far worse, it's one, count your blessings, but two, there are people who have a much harder story, such as our ancestors, for example, who really, really been through the trenches, you know what I mean? And they somehow endured. They somehow pulled through. They somehow found a way to keep on going. And if our ancestors can do it without the tools that we have now, you know, then we can do it too, because we have access to tools that makes things simpler and easier, which has pros and cons. The pro behind it is we have access to a lot of information. If there's something we seek, we can just about look up anything we want to know. And there's cons because by things becoming simpler and easier, it weakens our mind. It weakens our ability to think, how to think. And to me, that's a bit frightening, because what I'm trying to say is the more things become easier, the more we become weaker. So, meaning, if you do what's easy, your life is going to be hard. If you do what's hard, your life will be easy. My 4 life keys are this. 1, have gratitude. You have to have gratitude, and you have to find things within your daily life to be thankful and grateful for. Trust me, especially when you're in a very hard season, it is very hard to find anything to be grateful for, especially when there is so much turmoil and so much wrong things happening that it is really, really hard to find a way to become thankful for absolutely anything. And the thing I came across when I was going through a really hard time, where in moments I genuinely didn't think I would ever make it out of, is I came across this post or this video. I came across something that basically said, with every time you have one negative thought, find 3 things to be positive for. And that was a very big game changer for me. Every time one negative thought arose, I found 3 things to be positive for within that moment or that situation or within that thought. Gratitude is very important, especially when you are going through a very hard season within your life. I cannot tell you how much gratitude has changed my life. It has changed my life in a very significant way, and I will explain why in a second. Is you have to have gratitude for where you are and with the things that you do have in order for you to acquire more and attain more. And what I mean here is, as you start to put one foot in front of the other, and as you are trying to move forward and you are trying to get through your situation, you have to be thankful for every single thing within the process. You have to be thankful for the process before you can lead up to your destination. And the thing I found is, if you cannot find anything to be grateful for, I will name a few that is just off the top of my head. Is 1, the ability to wake up. The ability to wake up is a blessing within itself, because not everybody is able to wake up. There are people who went to sleep and did not wake up. As we speak right now, there is someone who is currently going through something, whether we know a person or whether we don't know the person. There someone who had woken up and heard some sad news that so-and-so did not wake up today. And that's really sad. Another blessing of yours is, again, being able to wake up is a blessing. Being able to see is another blessing, because not everybody is able to see. There are some people that walk this earth or are on this earth that are blind. The ability to talk is another blessing, because not everybody is able to speak and be heard. There are people who have to utilize a device to vocalize their needs. I've seen it. And not everybody is able to hear. There are people amongst our earth who are deaf. They cannot hear, and they have to develop a way to develop sign language so they can be able to communicate. And hopefully whoever it is that they communicate with also is able to understand and interpret the sign language, because not everybody knows sign language. The ability to leave your home and come back is a blessing, because there are people who left their homes and assumed that they would make it back home, and they didn't. That is, again, another blessing, to be able to leave your home and come back. That is a huge underestimated blessing. The ability to move your hands and be able to mobilize your fingers and be able to feel the touch, that is another blessing, because not everybody is able to mobilize your hands. There are people who are currently a vegetable. They cannot move. And there are people in this world who literally cannot feel. I was one of them at a point in my life where doing this, I could not feel, and I went through a very hard time with it. It was not the easiest thing. It was not the easiest thing to endure. There are many things that we can all be grateful for. If you cannot find something to be grateful for, I can assure you that you are just looking in the wrong areas. If you have a roof over your head, that is a very big blessing. If you even have a blanket or anything to keep you warm, that is another blessing. If you have anything to keep you cool, that is again another blessing. There are so many things amongst this earth that we often take for granted, that we do not appreciate until it is taken from us, or two, it is close to being taken from us. For my breathing, for example, I never valued a single breath until it was almost taken away from me. I did not value breathing until I had a double pneumonia, collapsed lungs, and I was in the ICU fighting for my life, hoping I would even see another light of day. Do not take your life for granted. Do not take your life for granted. I promise you, there is something with where you currently are that you could be thankful for, that you can find something there is something with where you are that you can find some form of gratitude for and be thankful for. If you cannot find one, trust me, you are just looking in the wrong areas. Again, I was one of them. 2, have faith. Having faith is very, very big and very essential within your life. You have to be able to develop the ability to have the faith that where you are isn't where you always will be. Is to have faith within your process. As you are trying to work your way forward, as you're trying to work through something, you have to have the faith that the actions you are taking and the efforts that you are putting, moving one foot in front of the other, it is going to pay off. You have to have faith within your journey that, again, where you are, it isn't where you always will be. That this too shall pass. Whatever season you are in, have the faith that, again, where you are isn't where you always will be. Things will get better. Don't just take my word for it. Reflect back and reflect off of your past. There has been several moments, I am sure of, even dozens of moments, that you can reflect back and think of your own life and think of a time when you had doubted that your situation would ever change, and it did. All you have to do is continue to put one foot in front of the other and have the faith that, again, where you are isn't where you always will be. Number 3, learn. Learning is very, very huge. When you can develop the ability to self-reflect and be mindful of your thoughts, that is where it becomes really big and a lot of things can slowly start to change from the bad turning into the good, from hopeless moments to moments of hope. Because when you're going to have to develop the ability to learn and self-reflect, that's where things really start to become big, because you have to learn from your own actions. Whatever action you are taking, you have to self-reflect and find ways to improve whatever it is that you are doing. If there is something that you communicated and something that you said, you should always self-reflect off of the things you said or the choice of words that you chose, and find ways to communicate better and find different words that you maybe could have said to communicate more effectively. Another thing that you can always that you should always learn from is learn from your own actions. When you are doing something, what are the reactions and what are the life events that you keep making happen, that you keep repeating? It is your actions that, to put it simply, is picture yourself driving a car. If you are in a car and you are just driving in circles, right, and you're trying to get to the destination in front of you, you cannot expect to reach your destination in front of you if you are not doing anything different with your current actions. If you're holding the wheel sideways and turned, right, metaphorically speaking, of course, if you're holding your wheels turned and you were putting your foot on the gas and you were just going in circles and you're wondering why you are not getting to the destination in front of you, you have to self-reflect, like, oh, maybe it's because I'm doing the same thing, and because I'm doing the same thing, I'm going to keep seeing and experiencing the same thing until something changes. I came up with a saying that says, nothing changes if nothing changes. Think about that. 4, excuse me, I almost lost concentrated thought. 4 is grow. You have to grow. And I think it is very essential to find a way to grow from your situation. I love the saying, grow through what you go through. For me, it is an indicator that where I am, there is an opportunity within where I am that is trying to help me grow. An example, when I was in the hospital, several moments, and I could not have learned this if it was not for me reflecting from my past experiences. As when I was in the hospital and I was in the ICU and I was basically fighting for my life, and again, I did not think I would see another light of day, I had to self-reflect from those moments, because there was something within every moment, within every challenge, there lies an opportunity to grow. Within that moment, of course, I did not think that I could not understand why I was put in that situation. I could not understand why I had that pneumonia, why I had the collapsed lungs, why I was in the ICU, why I could not breathe on my own without some assistance from a machine. In moments like that, it's very hard to understand that challenge, that there is an opportunity to grow. I mean, like, how could there? You're in some very hard time, right? How could you see an opportunity to grow? Self-reflect is very huge. Because I was able to self-reflect from that experience, because of that experience, I was able to have more patience, to develop my faith, to grow my character. Because while I was in the midst of that, I could have been, while I was in the midst of that, I could have thrown faith out the window. There was absolutely no reason why I am here. If God is real, why would he put me in this situation? It is very important that you develop the faith that, again, where you are isn't where you always will be. And you have to find, again, the opportunity within your challenge, whatever it is that you are whatever it is that you are currently facing. That is very big. So again, to summarize what we had discussed here is one. My 4 life keys is one, you have to have gratitude. It is very important that you find something to be grateful for today. And not just when you're going through something hard, but find something to be grateful for on your good days and your bad days and your ugly days. You have to find something to be grateful for every single day and try to be grateful for when you're out and about and you see something. If you're out and about and you're in front of the ocean, for an example, have gratitude for being able to hear the sound of the ocean, being able to be in that moment, be able to be there, you know, whether you're by yourself or whether you're with some good company. Have gratitude for that moment, because it isn't here to stay. It is going to pass. So have gratitude that you are even able to be in that moment. There is something, again, to be thankful for always. 2 is, again, have faith. You have to have faith that where you are, it isn't where you always will be. 3, learn. With where you are, you have to self-reflect and find ways to improve where you are. What it is that you are doing that you no longer wish to be the same person. You no longer wish to keep experiencing the same things over and over again. In order for anything to change, you must make the change. You have to change. Number 4, again, grow. You have to seek the opportunity within life's happenings. You have to seek the purpose in life's happenings, or something that you are currently going through that is trying to help you develop the strength or the wisdom to help you endure and persevere whatever it is you're in the midst of. It is trying to help you get through the process in order for you to reach your destination. If you are able to see this video, you have such a huge advantage to those who do not have access to a device or to the internet. And here is why. If there is something that you don't know and you are able to view this video, that means you have 2 of the most important things, which is a device to access the internet, which is a smart device nowadays, and 2, you have access to the internet. If you have those 2 things, if you have a device to access the internet and you have internet so you can access the internet, you have one of the 2 advantages over anyone who doesn't have access to the internet or doesn't have access to a device. Here's why. If there's something that you don't know, you then can literally utilize your device and ask your phone or search up, how can I do ... How can I ... And you can start learning from these individuals who have not only been where you are, but has overcame but has found solutions to whatever problem you may have. That is when things that is really, really big. And here's why. Because anything you don't know 99% of the information that we don't know can be found with some diligent research, finding the answer. If you want to improve your mental health, look up ways on how to improve your mental health. If you want to improve your financial status, educate yourself on how to learn about money. If you want to grow a business, you can access information for free on the internet, more so on YouTube, watching videos of people explaining what it is they did to get them where they are. And it can be about anything. It can be about something they went through mentally. It could be something they went through physically. It could be something they went through emotionally, spiritually, financially. And there are people that have literally documented their life experiences so you too can overcome what it is you are in the midst of. And to me, reflecting and thinking about, or not so much reflecting, but thinking about how we have the opportunity to, by we, I'm talking about you and I, because if you have access to view this video, you have access to so much information that you are not taking advantage of, is we have access to so much opportunities that we don't utilize, especially when it is free. Like again, if there's something you don't know, 99% of the information that you don't know can be found on the internet. Now, I want to mention is that you should not, this isn't just with online or social media, this is in life in general, is you should hear everybody, but you should only listen to few. Because everybody can talk, everybody can make noise, but not everyone will be able to talk from experience. Not everyone will be able to talk and tell you what it is. Not everyone will be able to tell you their story and tell you how they overcame their story, how they overcame certain chapters. Not everyone is able to do that. Some people can tell you how to get through it and how you should be doing certain things when they are not doing what it is that they are telling you. Do you hear me on that one? Because that's big. Listen, you should hear everybody, but you should only listen to few. You should hear those who talk to you, but only listen to those who have not only been where you are, but has overcame where it is you are in the midst of.